Thanks for clicking. We had a huge week in China's real estate crisis this week, with Beijing finally unveiling a massive, comprehensive plan to bail out the real estate sector. The plan, which many are saying could end the real estate crisis China has been undergoing for the past year, provides support for both developers and mortgage borrowers that have boycotted their mortgage payments for the past few months in an attempt to get Beijing to get their homes built.
Because you equate love with money.
The move was seen as President Xi Jinping's first big act as president, as he tries to stabilize the economy and also the property market. It wasn't all good news in China this week, with violent protests breaking out in Guangzhou in response to lockdowns and ongoing zero-COVID policies. With that said, the package unveiled by Beijing is a big deal. So what I want to do today is go over the bailout, discuss some of its effects on the property market, go over the protests in Guangzhou, and then discuss what to look for next. These policies being brought out by Beijing could be a game changer for China's property market crisis, which has been ongoing for over a year now. We'll continue to have updates out on the effects of these policies on this channel every Friday on our China Update. If you want to get those updates, make sure you click like and subscribe, but for now, let's get into this bailout. Onto the bailout. Probably the most important policy being unveiled by Beijing is instructing the financial institutions to treat private and public developers in the same manner. There's been a real preference on behalf of the banks in China for state-backed developers over the past year, as they were seen as much safer. However, this has dried up much-needed liquidity for private developers, which have been unable to get loans to finish their projects. By ensuring that private developers have the same access to liquidity as state developers, at least in theory, we'll see how that plays out, Beijing's plan aims at giving these private developers a chance at recovery. Second, Beijing is going to be extending direct loans to these developers to get their projects completed. We talked before on this channel about the mortgage boycotts and Chinese developers taking years to complete projects over a lack of funding. These new loans being offered directly by Beijing should go a long way to getting these property developers to complete their projects, which should go even further to helping restore homebuyer confidence that has been severely shaken over the past year. Finally, China's plan is addressing the mortgage boycotts that have been ongoing for the past few months and have constituted at least 343 projects involving thousands of homeowners. Under the new policy, those homebuyers which refused to make their mortgage payments until their homes were completed won't have their credit score impacted.
Your generosity is overwhelming.
But that's not all. China is also loosening down payment restrictions in an effort to lure buyers back into the market to get Chinese homebuyers back in spending again. And while there is a 16-point list of the measures being undertaken by Beijing, link in the description, I think these three cover the main points, with Beijing attempting to get these properties built and restore homebuyer confidence. Restore the homebuyer psychology that is severely shaken after a year of ongoing crises. And the markets definitely agreed with the plan. Country Garden, the largest developer in China, saw its share price increase by 38% following the announcement. So, Beijing making sure that private developers have a chance, making sure they have the same treatment as state-backed developers when it comes to the banks. They're also going to be providing direct loans to these developers to get these projects completed. And they're also ensuring that those who engaged in the mortgage boycotts won't have their credit hit. All good news, all intended to restore homebuyer confidence and to get these projects completed, to get these people into their homes. But it wasn't all good news coming out of China this week, with a very poignant reminder that ZeroCovid continues throughout the country. Riot police were dispatched to Guangzhou after crowds of residents escaped their lockdowns and clashed with the police. Beijing took to the state media to reiterate that ZeroCovid is very much in place, and the regime expects strict adherence to that policy. And in demonstration of the strictness of the ZeroCovid policy, Beijing subsequently locked down an entire university in Peking over the report of one COVID case.
Don't forget to tell your friends what happens if they around here. You understand?
So on the one hand, Beijing came out with a very much needed real estate bailout this week, but on the other hand, they are sticking with their zero-COVID policies, and there'll be no deviation from those policies for the foreseeable future. With that said, as we've covered on this channel, China has been strident in its hands-off policies for the real estate sector. With that said, as we saw this week, Beijing is not a monolithic regime and does respond to domestic pressures which threaten its economy. So whether or not it will change its policies vis-a-vis zero-COVID in the same manner it just did with the real estate crisis remains to be seen, but we'll obviously continue to cover China's real estate crisis and its economy on this channel every Friday. Click like and subscribe if you want to get those updates, but for now, thanks so much for watching.